Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we head to Michigan. Almost a home race for myself, fresh off of, the ups and downs of Richmond Raceway in the last episode. But we actually came into this weekend with an announcement from the brand new Andretti team. Let's take a look as we head into the weekend.
We at Andretti Autosport are excited to announce that we will be making our debut next week in Indianapolis. With that, we will also be entering into Watkins Glen, Daytona, and a few of the upcoming playoff races. We look forward to seeing you at the track in the coming weeks.
Well, you hear the news, Andretti Autosport set to make their debut in Indianapolis, and it's actually going to be Marco Andretti behind the wheel, at least for Indy. Beyond that, we'll have to wait and see, but of course, no better place for Andretti to make their Cup Series debut than, almost where you call home for them, of course, with Indianapolis and the history with that circuit and IndyCar in general. So, excited to see that, and on the topic real quick of Indianapolis, of course, at the road course, next episode, but that is a big one because we have big names there. Aside from Andretti making their debut, Shane Van Gisbergen returns for Project 91, but then we have as well Kamui Kobayashi in that race, Brody Kostecki as well, so it's going to be a stacked race. You see in practice a bit of a problem here with the two of Austin Cindric, smoke pouring out of the right side of that car. Looks like a tire down, some damage on that car as well, but yeah, practice, it was okay. I brought it into the pit lane after that lap right there, so focusing in on qualifying. We got the top golf colors back on 3 episodes in a row here now. As a goal in Michigan, I didn't really know what to expect, but honestly, if we can come out of here, I don't even need to be above the cut line coming out of Michigan to be confident in our chances of making the playoffs, because think about it, Indianapolis road course, Watkins Glen, we've been very strong at the road courses this season. They haven't gone to perfection. There's been kind of some hurdles, but they still have been points or races where we've been able to make up a lot of points. So if we can come out of here even 20 points below the cut line, I think we will still make the playoffs because of these 2 road races and Daytona. We cross the line with a 40.270. We go P28, so not a good qualifying effort. This is a track I had circled for tracks that I was concerned about that is so focused on high speed, which hasn't been great for colleague racing this season. And, we qualify P28, but our teammates don't do much better. Chandler Smith in 23rd. Justin Haley, actually decent in P15. Truex rounds out the top 10 last episode winner, locked in the playoffs. Harvick and Blaney first and second there as we get ready for racing. Now, we had trucks in Xfinity. We had 2 Xfinity races before Cup in Michigan, but here's trucks. Christian Eckes picked up the victory, and now they're set to kick off their playoffs in the next episode or 2. As you can see, the rest of the finishing order there. On the Xfinity side of things, they already did Indy Road Course for whatever reason, where Austin Hill held off Josh Berry for the victory. Of course, still a lot of racing left in the Xfinity series before they make it to the playoffs here. But then they went to Michigan, where Brandon Jones picked up the victory on Saturday here. Now, as we are ready to go racing on Sunday, let's send it over to the NBC guys in the booth.
Just 4 races remain in the regular season as we welcome you to Michigan International Speedway. Last week, Martin Truex Jr. picked up the victory to lock himself into the playoffs. A lot of pressure taken off that 19 team there, guys.
A lot of pressure taken off the 19 team, but more added to the bubble drivers. Owen and Gibbs are now fighting for the final spot in the top 16.
And all it takes is one new winner in the next 4 weeks outside of the top 16 to make it very difficult on both those guys.
And we still have Daytona coming up, guys. If I am Owen Gibbs or Busher, I am trying extra hard to find a way to win before then. How about we talk to one of the bubble drivers today? Gary Owen, this is Dale Jr. in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
You come into today right on the bubble. What's the goal today and the next 3 weeks to follow?
Well, as long as there's no new winner, Dale, we can just focus on 2 cars, and that's the 54 and the 17. So just trying to outpoint them today and the next 3 weeks after that.
All right, good luck.
Well, there you hear it with Dale Jr. up in the booth. Almirola starting at the back along with Hamlin. Almirola field optical scanning station, while Hamlin in that 11 team completely changed out that engine. They're still looking for win number 1 on this season. We, however, are ready to go racing here from Michigan. We are underway now from P27. 50 laps should be the lap count that we have here today from Michigan. Now starting alongside the 23 of Bubba Wallace, who had a pretty rough outing last episode back at Richmond. That team right now in a must-win scenario, and we talked about it already. 23-11 Racing, not a single driver in the playoffs, not even Tyler Reddick right now in that number 45. And if Reddick would have had the same speed now that he had earlier in the season, I don't think this would be a conversation. I think he would have been well inside the playoffs, and I think probably would have won a race by now. But the reality is that team started out pretty slow, and they've gotten better as the season has gone. And however, they still find themselves in a position where they're going to have to win to get into the playoffs here. Now Ty Gibbs up on the outside, going 3 wide with my teammate of Haley, who qualified 15th, and he's already outside of the top 20 at the end of the first lap. So definitely struggling on pace is at 31 of Justin Haley. Harvick out in front here. Now Blaney actually taking the lead as we look up the inside of the 43 of Eric Jones. Up ahead, you got Kurt Busch there going around the outside 3 wide with Austin Dillon, as well as the other monster car of Gibbs now as we head up the inside. Trevor Bayne back in the car for the 42, by the way, this weekend here. But next weekend, we've talked about the one-off drivers that we're going to have at Indianapolis. So Brody Kostecki is not actually going to be in a Richard Childress Racing car. He's going to be in the 42 car with the whole storyline we got going there. So he'll be in the 42. The episode after for Watkins Glen, you'll see Mike Rockenfeller, and then Grant Enfinger will be in the car for Daytona. So they've got a heck of a lineup on the way, and they're going to continue to experiment for the rest of the season. But I'm hearing potentially there's a change of plans that has to do with the switch to Toyota. That's not changing. But with the driver in that car, there's some rumors that John Hunter Nemechek might be headed to the 42 instead of the 23-11 67 car. And the whole 67 plan, as I get into the outside wall, but the plan for the 67 might be changing completely for next season. So stay tuned. An announcement likely to come before the end of the regular season on what's going on there between the 42, 67 John Hunter Nemechek situation. We continue on though. Lap 5 of only 10 in stage 1 on the outside of that 2 of Cindric, but here we are trying to get 3 wide with Kurt Busch again, and you got Michael McDowell up here currently running in the 15th spot. How about Bubba Wallace now actually runs me back down, and he would go around me with ease here on the outside. If I'm not drafting someone, I am slow as molasses. That is going to be the key to success here today in Michigan. If I am the one, leading a group of cars, we are not going to go anywhere. But if I am able to draft off of cars, we've got some, decent competitive pace here. P17 right now, but unfortunately, Gibbs up the road. Here I am with 4 to go in the stage, looking up the inside now of that discount tire Ford Mustang of Cindric as we head down into turn 1, trying to bring Kozlowski with me, who's in a must-win scenario. His teammate, of course, Chris Buescher, in a different scenario. He's battling with us in that bubble area with myself and Ty Gibbs, and you heard it in the pre-show. One new winner outside of the top 16. It's going to make it difficult to make it into the playoff. But I'm not going to worry about it yet because we haven't seen it. Now, obviously, I don't think we'll see it today unless something crazy happens with strategy, as the caution is going to fly here in towards the end of stage 1, so that'll end it a few laps early. P17 is what we'll be credited with. I believe Blaney won the stage. Him and Harvick were kind of going back and forth. Yes, Ryan Blaney wins stage number 1 over Harvick, Kyle Busch, Bell, and Chastain. Byron rounding up top 10 there now as Larson, I think they're 9th place, just in front of him. We're going to come in for 4 tires, fill it up with a feel. Really didn't know what to do with the adjustments, but I decided to do a little bit of tape and then just lower the wedge by 2 rounds there from a 50 flat to a 49.8. So getting ready for the stage 2 restart. We actually had a couple drivers with really bad pit stops. Harvick lost 8 positions. Kyle Larson lost like 15 positions, so he is starting now well behind myself in that number 5 car. Larson still winless on the season. You would think if Larson was winless this long, I would say this would be the track that you would circle on the calendar of where he's going to get to victory lane. Larson used to be so good on these 2-mile ovals. Of course, you think back to his first career win in 2016 here, but then of course he went into 2017 and he won Auto Club, and then he won both the Michigan races. He swept 2 or well, the last 3, because of course it was the second race at Michigan in 2016 that he won, and then he won the next 2. So Larson was so good at these tracks in that 2016, 2017 era, we'll call it here now as we continue on. There's Bubba Wallace looking to my outside, and that number 23 now. We got Ty Gibbs right here with us as well, but once again, you see when there's no draft for me, I mean, we are struggling on pace in this number 16 Top Golf machine now as we continue on. So P15 currently, not too disappointed with that, but you know what I don't like to see, of course, is we look up the inside of the 54, but I see the 17 of Chris Buescher up inside the top 10, so not exactly what I want here now as we go down into 3 on the inside of that Monster Energy Toyota Camry. 2 rookies right now battling for the final few positions inside the playoffs, but like I said earlier, I don't expect a new winner today. I don't expect a new winner in Watkins Glen or Indianapolis, or when I say new winner, I don't expect a winner outside of the top 16 in points. But Daytona, as we know, is a free-for-all. And if we look at the facts and the trends of this series so far, we've only had 2 super speedway races. The Daytona 500 was Riley Herbst for Rick Ware Racing, picking up the victory. Talladega was Stuart Haas Racing and Ryan Preece. So, I mean, if you look at the trends right there, it would say we're getting another surprise winner outside of the top 16 in the Daytona regular season finale, so we at least have to be, you know, thinking about that in the back of our head. Hopefully we're the one that wins that race, to be honest. But here we are, lap 5 of stage 2. It's a lot more laps in stage 2. Of course, stage 1 was only 10 laps. We didn't even complete them all. And 19 here in the second stage as I'm looking to the outside of Logano. Behind me, having a really good run in the 42, Trevor Bayne, who we will see a bit more of in the playoffs, but this will be the last of him for the regular season. But yeah, he'll definitely be doing some playoff races in that 42 car as we continue running in this about 16th area. But that 42 would run me down. You guys didn't even get a good look at that paint scheme in the last episode because he was really kind of non-existent in Richmond, but you'll get a pretty good look at it here momentarily as I make a move on the inside of that 22 Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Not going to be enough there on the exit of the corner. Logano's going to have help from the draft from the 54. I try to side draft him. He pulls clear. While I do that, the 42 of Bayne slips up the inside. The 2011 Daytona 500 winner is going to get just about clear into 3. We continue at his door now, as you can see on the front straightaway. Unfortunately, though, he would get clear in that 42 machine as we would continue to try and fight back, though, on the outside in this Firekeepers Casino 400. But definitely starting to think about some pitch strategy here because we cannot make it to the end of stage 2. Everything's nice and clean and green. You see up ahead, that's the 7 of Corey LaJoie. So he had to come into the pit lane a few laps prior due to an engine issue, and he had now rejoined the track. So here he is, a lap down in front of this group of cars. We have 6 laps of field, and they are about to try 4 wide here in Michigan. It should be okay, right? I hope so. We're about to find out as we exit 4. That 54 is leaning on the 7 of LaJoie. Now they're going to all come together. Logano squeezes into them, and goodness gracious, the 7's into the wall. We get past him. That's one way to get rid of a lap car. We continue on 4 wide racing here at the 2-mile oval in Michigan now as we continue. But I decide, you know what? I think we need to do something different here with the strategy. We're looking for track position going into stage 3. So I would quickly hear some radio from Stevie Speed.
Okay, we're going to pit this lap box this time.
You hear it right there. We're pitting this lap. Gibbs around the outside. Hamlin, who started at the bank after the engine change, to my outside as well into 3, but I didn't really care at this moment because we're coming into the pits. So this is a track position call right here. We're trying to get as close to that top 10 as we can. This is not a decision that's going to put us in stage points, but it could set us up a little bit better for that 3rd and final stage, and hopefully, you know, maybe stay connected to the top 10 because I was thinking about the 17 who's outrunning us, and we're having a tough time outrunning Gibbs, so we're just trying to get creative here without taking too much risk. We do give up a lap, so we have to hope it stays green, which we know it doesn't stay green a lot during a green flag cycle, or green flag pit stops. Usually it doesn't stay green long enough to get those, I should say, as there was nearly contact with the 22. Whenever you're exiting the pit lane in Heat 5, the AI and the surrounding area acts so weird going down into turn 1. Fortunately, it did not result in an incident, but I've seen that happen before where it does. Look at the 4 fresh tires going to work. Here we go, passing the 10 of Almirola back to the outside of Logano. So we already know once these guys go and do their pit stops, come back out, we are going to be cycling through ahead of these guys, and the pit stops had now gotten underway. Half the field just about had pitted, and actually had briefly tapped the back of the 54, who I just underestimated the closing rate on, but Gibbs is going to pit. Hamlin, Bain, everybody, including the leader of Ryan Blaney, your stage 1 winner. Here we go. We're going to pass the 54, the 42 next time around, so we have made up some good time. The question is, have we made up enough? We're in currently P13, but look at this. Coming to the final lap in the stage of 54 and the 42 absolutely lights out speed compared to myself, blowing my doors off. I could have thrown a block, but I personally, even though it's a video game, don't like to throw stupid blocks. There's a difference between a block and a stupid block, and that would have been a stupid one in my book. Ryan Blaney, though, leads the way. He would win stage number 2. Caution comes out as 10th place, crosses the line. P15 is what we'll end up in. I don't even remember. Were we like 16th or 17th when we came into the pits? So not as much of a gain as I was hoping for. We're going to come in though and throw 4 tires on it again. There really wasn't a whole lot we could do to this car. We're lacking pace. The car was driving fine. Larson's rebounded to 10th. There's some speed in that 5 car to pay attention to here now, after he, of course, was way down the order after the bad stage 1 pit stop. So you see the rest of the running order right there. Haley down to 30th. Chandler Smith in 31st. Of course, we are the best running Colleague car, which has been kind of the norm lately. We gained 2 spots in the pit lane, lining up behind the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet of Chase Elliott. We're back underway for the 3rd and final stage here from Michigan, and we actually have less laps in stage 3 than we did stage 2. Reason for that being because when stage 1 ended a few laps early, it just added a few extra laps to stage 2. So stage 3 though, the normal amount of laps. A great launch up the inside of the 17 of Buescher. There's the 5 of Larson. You got up ahead Chastain going 3 wide with Bubba Wallace, as well as Chase Elliott here down this backstretch, but they get that sorted out pretty quickly. Bubba clear now. You got as well Harvick up there in the mix, of course, starting on that front row. He's got some speed. Byron way up the track in that 24 Raptor machine. Same for Chastain, who's trying to wall ride just about here as we are now into the top 10. The question though is how long. We know that to be, pretty, straightforward. There's not top 10 pace in this car, but if we have the draft, you never know what can happen here now, as I was desperately trying to hang on to that. The 17 now on my right side door as we exit turn 2 for that 10th position. He's probably going to get us down this back straight away. Chastain out of nowhere got us as well, so down to P12 we would go, and I was struggling to hang on with these guys. Truex would go through on the inside, so down to 13th place, and we would lose connection with them. They just had too much speed compared to my car. Kevin Harvick now leading, coming to the final 13 laps of this race. But here comes this next group of cars. I have no draft to help me, so it's going to be very hard to hold back a Denny Hamlin, a Logano, and all these guys behind us. Briscoe, Gibbs, you name it. They're right there, and Hamlin would get to my inside down the front straightaway, and now it's going to be a little bit difficult now. You're going to see just a kind of a train go by. Almirola brings his teammate of Chase Briscoe through, down to P16 just like that. As you got Logano, Trevor Bayne, Gibbs still lined up behind us. Bayne to my inside, Kyle Busch now out in front, looking for win number 4 on the season at this point here in Michigan. But Bayne's going to get us on the exit of the corner, and just look at that pace in that 42 car. And then, of course, Ryan Blaney again takes the lead on lap 40 of 50. If no caution comes out, we will see green flag pit stops, and well, there's your answer. Around goes the 43, the 34 as well. The caution's gonna fly. It looked like one of them blew a tire, and it results in a multi-car incident. Blaney leads at the time of caution. Larson's up to 5th. We're gonna do 1 can of fuel and right side tires, as I knew 4 tires would be giving up a lot of track position here. And it's a lot harder to make up track position compared to the 4 tire call that we made in Richmond when everybody else took 2. So, P17, unfortunately we lose 3 positions in the pit stop. So down to P20 for the restart. It's going to be 7 laps of racing. We know that every single point at this point is so crucial in these final 4 races of the regular season as we head down towards this first corner now. Ryan Blaney has been in control for the large majority of this race. Can he stay in control? Kurt Busch to the inside of the 54, and he's going to clear him, and to the inside of the 22. I was trying to not hit the back of the 54 so I wouldn't, ruin my own momentum and push him forward at the same time. Cole Custer up my inside here, of course, fighting for the Xfinity Series Championship. Is that number 51 driver of Custer, as you can see up ahead. Blaney continues to lead, but watch out for that 5 of Larson, who continues to find some pace. He's up there towards, I think, second place at this point. Does he have enough to fight with the 12? That's the question. As we continue to try and clear this 51, we do. So hanging on to 21st, and then we get to the back of Logano, who kind of gets cut off there by the 67. So we'll go to the inside. Gibbs has now passed a couple cars. He's moving forward. The 17's further up the track, so we're losing points today to both of the drivers that we are trying to make sure that we are finishing ahead of. A move up the inside of the 54 after clearing the 67 into turn 3 as we try to side draft him a little bit, but it wouldn't be enough, but we would stay at least alongside into turn 1, going all the way down to the apron, even not the way I wanted to enter that corner. Now, as you're going to see, Gibbs is going to have the run back on the exit of turn 2. Battles like this are so crucial. It's only 1 point, but it's against a driver where every point is going to matter. So you can see Gibbs now passing the 41 of Priest. So up into P17, Gibbs goes. I would look to the inside of the 41, and I would struggle to pass him. And on the exit of turn 2, clear goes the 41. Kurt Busch got up my inside in the process as well. So as all this battling is happening, I'm just watching that black Monster Energy Toyota Camry with the rookie stripes on the rear bumper just get smaller and smaller in my windshield here. So you can see I'm still trying to fight with the 41, but as that happens, Logano now makes it 3 wide into turn 3. So just making matters worse, Logano is going to slip through. We drop down to P20, and we continue to fight with Ryan Preece. I would lunge one up into turn 1 right here and try almost a slide job as I was getting tired of battling this guy, but obviously I failed at it. And he goes back around on the inside here as the white flag was in the air for Ryan Blaney as he heads down into turn 1. White flag for us now. We go up the inside again at the 41. This could be our last opportunity right here in turn 1 and 2 to get clear of this 41 car. And sure enough, we send it in deep enough and we take over 20th position. But Gibbs continues to make some headway forward. Buescher as well has gained some points, unless of course he crashes on this final lap. But Ryan Blaney looking for another win this season. A big run on the 67 of Kurt Busch. Harvick has taken the lead in 3 and 4. Kevin Harvick, in his final season of NASCAR Cup Series competition, has stolen the win from Ryan Blaney, as sure enough, Harvick comes through to win. In Michigan, we get Kurt Busch at the line, or out of 4, I should say, now coming to the line side by side, and it's going to be just enough to hang on to the 19th position here from Michigan. It's Harvick, Blaney, Bell, Busch, and Larson, the top 5. Reddick ends up P6, Bubba Wallace in P8, 2 of the 23-11 drivers. But we lose a few points to the 54, and we lose some more points to the 17 of Chris Buescher. Not exactly the day we wanted. Kind of a day we expected, unfortunately, here, as we'll take a look at the playoff grids there. So the Truck Series playoff starting very soon. Not next episode, but I think the one after. So we'll take a look at the grid going into that episode. But here is our situation. Right now, 7 points out of the playoffs after Michigan going into Indianapolis Road Course. Priest is still in the top 30, but Buescher has now overtaken us. So yeah, I mean, we are so close with Gibbs and Buescher. Only one of us 3 can make it in. Haley's out by 59, so it's really just Gibbs, Buescher, myself fighting it out. So that's going to wrap it up for me. The next one is going to be interesting at Indy Road. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day, everybody.